Velete, thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. Heavy gunshots and loud explosions have just broken out along the border between Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso. The heavy detonations hit a small village called Baduna. Baduna sits inside Burkina Faso, right on the borderline. But the explosions and gunfire were so loud that people living across the border in Ivory Coast, in a place called Kodioni in the department of Dupuru, heard everything clearly. If this was just a simple firefight in a remote area, it might not make big noise headlines. But this happened in a place where tensions have been rising for a long time. To understand why this single event is dangerous, we have to do a deep dive into the whole picture. We need to look at the political fight, the armed groups in the forest, the local militias, and what this means for the ordinary people living on the front line. To understand what is happening on the ground today, we first have to look at the bad relationship between the two governments. For over 2 years, political relations between Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso have been at their lowest point in decades. In September 2022, a young military officer named our all-in-all Captain Ibrahim Traore took power in Burkina Faso through a military coup. Since he took control, the government in Ouagadougou has changed its foreign policy completely. The military government in Burkina Faso has repeatedly accused the government of Ivory Coast, led by Alassane Ouattara, of working against them. Captain Ibrahim Traore's government has claimed on national television that Ivory Coast is hiding political enemies, protecting soldiers who ran away from the Burkinabe army, and allowing foreign powers to use Ivorian soil to plan ways to bring them down.
Of said detonations, we sound in Bodiana in the extreme north of the Ivory Coast. The fire starts directly from neighboring Burkina Faso. The detonations were noticeable. From the Ivorian sector of Kodia, US, in the department of Doropo, the possibility of an attack against the Burkinabe post is raised. Without official confirmation to this stadium in the face of the risk of contagion of the conflict, the Ivorian army is placed on maximum alert. Attention is palpable for border populations, who fear an incursion. The border Burkina Côte d'Ivoire. The situation is under control. Our fighting forces have not taken a step backwards. They remained in their positions. The neighbors sent the terrorists who crossed the border, who came to provoke our fighting forces. Our fighting forces have beaten them strong, bombed them hard. They crossed the border. Go stop on the other side there to attack. To stop there now. To attack our fighting forces. Our fighting forces have sent missiles. Go bomb them on the other side of the border. The terrorists. Now, the Ivorian authorities have deployed reinforcements they have sent. The Ivorian army they went to gather at the border there. The situation is under control. Our authorities are closely following. Those who decided to protect the terrorists, those who send the terrorists to come for okay. Our fighting forces, there will be no mercy. We will defend our territory. That's what it says. Here you go, and you have seen on LARTP every time. The terrorists come to make a mess. When they cross the border, our commanding forces can no longer do anything. They come to massacre the population. They cross the border, it's over. Today they have decided to provoke, still our authorities. Our fighting forces have not taken a step back. And the result is very clean, and the situation is under control. By our fighting forces, they are in the process of controlling the situation there. When it's good, it's good. What happens at the border? Between the Burkina Faso and the Ivory Coast? What are the elements of Ouattara at the Burkina Faso? Country of men, welcome my brothers and sisters, take your information. Follow Wells of this 24th of August 2026. Indeed, last night. The elements of Ouattara have crossed the border to attack a village in Burkina Faso, the locality of Galgouli, in the province of Kamti. Yes, it was last night they came to do the attacks. The night. The attack did not last at least 30 minutes. Like this. They have fled to return to Côte d'Ivoire. There was a civilian who fell in peace with his soul, who rests in peace. And one seriously injured a civilian who was, seriously injured on time. Where I'm talking to you, he's in the hospital, so that's it. The terrorists left in Côte d'Ivoire come and attack Burkina Faso, and then turn to Côte d'Ivoire. It means that there the Ivorian army is an accomplice of this attack. Why I said that? According to several reliable sources at the border there. The gendarmes, the police, the military who are at the border there on the day of the attack. The bodies dressed Ivorian retreated to Dorponi in the city at the border there. It is even that the terrorists came to attack the Burkina Faso and then returned to Côte d'Ivoire. That happened. They know that if the attack had lasted at least an hour, the Burkinabe army was going to die even if it was the night itself. If it is at 4 o'clock in the morning. If it is at 3 o'clock in the morning, that's why they came to do the crazy boom, 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 boom. And then quickly, about 15 minutes like turned around to, the Ivory Coast there, But go where I talk. The Burkinabe army has positioned itself to wait for them on the way back. And if they try again, we will see who is who, so that's why I give you all these details here because I have seen several publications saying that there are shots at the level, with weapons in Burkina Faso, and the Ivory Coast, the Ivorian army, and the army is not true. It's not true, so the Burkinabe army has not been able to free itself to the attack that happened at the level of Galgouli, in the province of de Comté. It is a very, very attack. Quickly, they came to do the damage, and then they went back to the Ivory Coast there. So as soon as they crossed the border, our authorities can do nothing. The Burkinabe army.
The government of Ivory Coast in Abidjan has strongly denied all of these claims. They say they are not trying to overthrow anyone and just want peace on their northern border. But even with these denials, the trust between the two countries is completely broken. When two neighboring governments do not trust each other, their armies stop talking, they stop sharing military intelligence, and they stop doing joint border patrols. When communication breaks down like this, every small incident on the border can easily turn into a major crisis because neither side knows what the other side is doing. The second big piece of this story is the spread of dangerous armed groups coming from the Sahel region. For many years, violent extremist groups have been fighting government armies in countries like Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Two main networks operate in this region. One is linked to I, known as JIM, and the other linked to the E. Over time, these groups have been pushing south, moving closer and closer to coastal West African countries like Ivory Coast, Ghana, Togo, and Benin. The border region between northern Ivory Coast and southern Burkina Faso is covered in thick trees, forests, and rural farmland. It stretches over 600 kilometers. This makes it very easy for fighters to hide. For those armed groups, border areas like Doropo, Tihini, and Burkina are ideal locations. They use the thick woods to rest, set up hidden camps, move equipment, recruit young people, and launch quick attacks on military outposts before slipping back across the border into the woods. Ivory Coast has already suffered from these groups in the past. In recent years, TT have launched attacks on Ivorian military posts in places like Kalufu, unaliving soldiers and planting roadside bombs. So whenever heavy gunfire breaks out near Doropo, The first fear in everyone's mind is that TT groups are launching another attack. The third major factor making this situation so complicated is the presence of armed civilian groups along the border. Because the National Army of Burkina Faso is small and stretched thin across a huge country, the military government created a group called the VDP, the Volunteers for the Defense of the Fatherland. These are the regular citizens who were given equipment, basic military training, and uniforms to defend their local villages from TT attacks. Hundreds of thousands of civilians have joined the VDP across Burkina Faso. While they were created to protect local communities, they operate with very little military supervision or discipline. Because of this, these civilian fighters often take matters into their own hands. Over the past year, there have been many reports of VDP civilian fighters crossing over the borderline into Ivory Coast territory without permission. They enter Ivory Coast villages carrying equipment, searching houses, and questioning local villagers. They often claim they are looking for soldiers who ran away from Burkina Faso, or they accuse locals of helping TT people. These illegal border crossings by armed militias have created massive fear and anger in northern Ivory Coast. It puts Ivorian soldiers in a difficult position. If an armed group crosses the border illegally, Ivorian troops have to respond to defend their sovereign land, which creates a huge risk of a direct firefight between armed groups from both nations. When heavy explosions and automatic gunfire broke out in Badona and echoed into Kadiounu, people began asking what actually took place. Because neither government gives immediate updates, we have to look at most likely scenarios based on how this conflict operates. The first possibility is a direct attack by TT against a Burkinabe military or VDP post in Badona. TT groups in this region love to use heavy explosions and rapid gunfire to overrun small military outposts, steal equipment, vehicles, and escape before air support arrives. For now, they said the situation is under control and they'll continue to monitor the situation and see what the outcome will be. But whatever the situation is, we are expecting that we'll continue to work in unity. We'll continue to love, support, be our own guard and defend our own selves rather than tearing each other apart because we are one people separated by just a line drawn by somebody else. We don't have to start fearing ourselves. The people we need to unite together to fear are the ones we are uniting to support. But whatever the situation will be, Africa will emerge as the winner no matter what. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall. And united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we'll make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world. In Africa, West Africa,